Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Daily Dose of Awesome, your 15 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education to help you start your day off right. If we've not met before, I am Becky Graff, and I'm super excited to have you guys all here with me. As you are hopping on, please drop where it is that you're coming from so that I can give you a shout out. We'd love to have some interaction on this live, so please participate as you're hopping on. Tell me where it is you're coming from. Hey, Sadaf, thanks for hopping on. Good to have you here. Because today's topic is going to be one that I think is very relatable for a lot of us, and I would love to have some conversation about it today. Hey, Anne-Marie, thanks for hopping on. Mike's on. Awesome, you guys. So what is something that you might be running away from that is sabotaging your results? Plus, I'm going to be sharing with you actually 4 tips on how you can actually stand your ground so that you can get the results that you want. Okay, hey Lauren, thanks for hopping on. Susan's on from Vancouver Island. Awesome. Cherie's on. Great to have you guys all on. Fantastic. Okay, some question, you guys. Hey Chad, coming in from Alabama. Awesome. Hey Tim, thanks for hopping on. Okay, so what are some things that you might be running away from in your business? Hello Mario, all the way from Quebec, Canada. Thanks for hopping on. Good morning from Alaska. Jenny, great to have you on. Okay, so what are some of the things that you might be running away from in your business? I'm curious. What are some of those things that you may be putting off or hiding from and turning a blind eye to because you don't maybe want to deal with them? I'm curious what some of those things might be, and we're going to get into a discussion today about what it is that we need to do instead. Hey Lane, thanks for hopping on. Good to have you here. All right, so difficult things. Okay, Cherie, what type of difficult things? What are difficult things? Let's get specific. What are some of these things that are difficult that we run away from? Okay, Annalie, thanks for hopping on. Great to have you here. Okay, because we definitely have a lot of difficult things that we don't want to do, right? All right, Susan says running away from the unknown, computer stuff. Okay, so techie stuff. Okay, all right, what else, you guys? What are some other things that you are running away from in your business? Okay. And then as you also write down what they are, how come you're running away from them? I want to know what it is that is keeping you from doing them and running the other direction or finding excuses for things to do. Lane says technology. Jenny says focusing on one thing. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so technology, we've got a couple techie things. How come we're running away from technology? What is it? Anne says it's not working compared to ads not working compared to ad spend. Okay, so not getting the return that we're looking for. Okay. What else, you guys? Go ahead and drop it in the comments because I'm curious. So with the technology, what is it that keeps you from running away from the technology? What is it? Are you scared? Are you nervous? Are you confused? Are you frustrated? Hey, Wendy, thanks for hopping on from SoCal. Great. Ashley says recruiting. I'm not confident in my leadership skills. Okay, so you're not confident in your leadership skills, so you're a little bit maybe concerned that you're not coming across as competent as you'd like to. Okay, changes, let's see, Susan says, changes so fast, never know if you're doing it right. Okay, so you're looking for certainty that what you're doing is the most effective thing. Okay, Jenny says commitment to consistency. That is a big one, I think. Who can relate to that? Being committed to consistency. If that's you, drop me one in the comments, okay? Because I know that we all go through these periods where we're super consistent or we think we're super consistent in different aspects of our lives, but then maybe we are not as consistent as we'd like to be. If that's you, let me know. Chad says Facebook algorithm being fixed against us. And to that point, Chad, actually the algorithm is not fixed against us. It is actually fixed for us. Just being able to know how to leverage that, providing valuable interactive content is going to help you get a long way. The algorithm is actually in place so that you are seeing what you want in your newsfeed, so that's a great user experience instead of it just being a dialogue of what each one of your specific friends was doing every single moment of the day. If it did just that, then it would be very confusing and most users would pop off. All right, you guys, lots of people on the consistency. All right, Ashley says, yes, my consistency. I'm consistent at inconsistently. Laugh out loud, right? But I mean, we all relate to that, right? We've had those points in our time, okay? So a lot of times what happens is we find these things that we're running away from, whether it be technology or consistency or recruiting, okay? Because we feel like there's a lack in us, right? We feel nervous or scared. We feel maybe judged. We don't know what to say, okay? So all of these things, what is the one thing that it creates in us? I'm curious if you guys, if you're aware of what the topic is going to be today, okay? Because we're getting to it. You guys are giving me some great information, some great feedback. What is it that we're talking about? What do all of these things cause within us? Okay, I want to talk about this. Hey, Maddie, thanks for hopping on. Lane says he gets hung up in a certain area of technology in a specific part of the training. Okay, right? So just feeling like you're stuck, right, at that spot. Michelle says anxiety. That's a big one, right? We face anxiety. Sabotage. When we start feeling those feelings, it's very easy to go into self-sabotage, paralysis. Okay, great feedback, you guys. Excuses. Yes, it does definitely create all these things. Hey, Olive, thanks for hopping on. Okay. What else does it do, you guys? James says, sharing product or biz opportunity when somebody asks, what do you do? Discounting the network marketing aspects. Okay, so not confident in how to respond to people, okay? Lots of computer tech, so no problems with technology. False expectations, appealing real. Fear, yes, creates fear. Let's see, Eric says, I have no patience. Listening in from Denmark. Great to have you here, Eric. Great. Okay, so you guys, all of these things that you're putting on are fantastic. Chad says, I got that the other day, but the way they prevent your posts from getting coverage because you're trying to get a share. Yes, so that is about how you're conducting your call to actions. Again, more meaningful interactions, and the filtering that they are doing just means that we need to be a bit more intentional in our content. Okay. All right, you guys, so all of these things that you're putting on, anxiety, self-sabotage, fear, all of these things are actually creating conflict. A level of conflict inside of us. Okay, now I'm curious, what happens when you hear the word conflict? What do you think of immediately when you hear the word conflict? Because for me, it was like war, battle, argument, like all these really big things. That's what conflict was to me. When I was thinking about the word conflict, I'm thinking about the conflict in a movie that I see, or a conflict of interest where two parties are arguing about something, okay? But the thing is that conflict is actually, it's not as dire as that. There are actually different levels of conflicts. Okay, Anna says avoid. Okay, you feel when you hear the word conflict, avoid. Awesome. What else? Fight. Chad says fight. Okay, so you hear conflict, it's a fight. Tim says run. Okay, when there's conflict, don't want to be there. Want to get out of there, right? How many of you feel these feelings when you hear those words? The word conflict. Okay, it's something pretty significant, right? Fighting, argument, running, right? It's something that comes across as, something we don't want to be around. And it's interesting because conflict definitely is something that most people attempt to avoid. Okay, it's often viewed as hostile. It's frustrating. It's negative. It's uncomfortable. Many times it comes across as like a win or lose situation, where it's either this way or that way. There is no in between ground, so it's either right or wrong. Okay, so it's win or lose. Okay, James says being damaged, hurt, not in control. Okay, Cherie says confront it. That's a great point, Cherie, because again, if we are avoiding conflict, if that's you, drop me a hand raised emoji. If you're avoiding conflict, or when there's a conflict or something that you perceive as conflict comes up, if you run and hide from it, or if you avoid it at all costs. If that's you, let me know if that's been you or if that's you still with certain things. Ashley says, depending on the conflict, it makes me feel like what I do isn't enough and makes me want to walk away from it all. Yeah, it makes you want to turn around and leave, right? Conflict can be one of those really, really scary things that you just don't want to deal with. But what happens, you guys? Hey, Becky, thanks for hopping on. When we avoid conflict, most of the time, okay? I've actually got a lot of hand raised coming in. Michelle, yep, you guys are hiding from stuff, okay? And I'm guilty of it too. I can remember so many instances. One in particular, when I was growing up, we had these walkie-talkie radios that my best friend's brother had brought over. And we were playing with them when we shouldn't have been. And we were quickly going to close the antenna and go put it away so that we didn't get caught. And I snapped off the antenna. Okay. And I remember that sick feeling inside. Like, oh my gosh, like I've just ruined this. And now my parents are like, you've got to go talk to him about it and tell him what you did. Okay. I felt so sick inside. Okay, so nervous, so scared. Can you relate to this when there's a conversation that you need to have, or a discussion or a situation that comes up that you feel, that is conflicting, right? That is a level of conflict where you need to have a hard conversation with somebody and you just really just don't want to do it. What are you feeling inside? Can you relate to the story of the younger me, right? Who had done something that I needed to own up to, and having that conversation. That was my first experience that I remember really dealing with conflict in a very significant way. All right, Michelle says, I know, she gets it. So frustrating. Okay, we got England in here. Sean, I missed the comment, says, let's see. Awesome. Okay, sorry, just going back through the comments. Okay, so you guys, have you ever had that happen where you had a conversation or a situation arise that you knew you needed to have, but you were putting it off. Okay? What were you feeling? Chad says anxiety and fear. Lane says I can relate. Been there. Okay. Sheree says I have too. Move forward. Yes, we got to have that positive momentum. Maddie says yes, I have a memory from childhood that I'm not proud of. Okay, but we all do. And in business, you guys, how many conversations are you having or situations arise that you are running away from? Okay? Maybe it's a conversation with an upline. Maybe it's a conversation with a teammate. Maybe it's a conversation with yourself. Okay? All right, we've got a lot of people resonating this, okay? So we feel nervous, worried, fearful. Okay, we have all these feelings inside where we just don't want to have the conversation, but we end up making all these excuses and scenarios, rationalizations, like how come we're not going to do it, right? But typically what happens after you have the conversation, is it really as bad as you had anticipated it being? Okay, what usually happens after you have the conversation? I know for me that I get all nervous and pent up inside and I don't want to do it, but then the moment that I do it, I have a flood of relief or understanding, and maybe I'm super uncomfortable, but that starts to ebb once I have the conversation. Okay, so I have a question for you based on what we've been talking about so far. Can conflict be positive? I'm curious what you're thinking. Can conflict, which we listed out there as all of these negative things, fighting, argumenting, or having arguments, all those things, can conflict actually be positive? I'm curious what you guys are thinking of it, because conflict in and of itself is just a misalignment of something, okay? It's a struggle or it's an opposition. We face struggle and conflict every single day, okay? So yes, we have yes coming in. Jenny says opportunity for growth. Ruse is on here. Great to have you here. Says yes. Becky says yes when it resolves the issue. Maddie says yes, it can be if we face it head on. Awesome, you guys. Cool. All right. So what are some positive conflicts that you guys are facing or have faced? I'm curious now what we can classify as a positive conflict, okay? James says, almost never as bad as my brain makes it out to be. Absolutely. Okay. Susan says, yes, it usually is over once it's been said. Absolutely. Okay, so we have all this fear inside. We make this conflict bigger in our mind than maybe it necessarily is. Okay, Chad says, yes, as soon as we learn how to manage it. Great. So you guys are on track here. There is positive conflict. So what are some of the positive conflicts that you're facing in your business? Okay, I'm curious what those might be. Okay, for me, when I first started out, you guys, it was not sharing in a group and being afraid to speak out. I was conflicted about sharing what I was thinking in my head, but then having people judge what I was saying. Okay, what are some other things? Sean says, Helen said in a recent post, setback is opportunity, disappointment is an opportunity, heartbreak is an opportunity. Therein you will find your gift. Everything has a reason. Absolutely. Okay. All of the things that we go through are opportunities for us to learn and grow, right? Anna D. Miller says, ad account got shut down. So that is a conflict, right? A conflict between what you're attempting to do and a situation that you've got to overcome, okay? Susan, asking for what we need, right? Reaching out, asking for help can be conflicted because we don't necessarily want to share what's going on inside of us, okay? So what are some other things? Facebook Live, I'm going to give to you guys, okay? Conflict. How many of you have ever had or have conflict surrounding Facebook Lives? You know that it's something that is going to help your business, but you don't know what to say, or you're afraid of being on camera, or you don't have the time, okay? What pieces surrounding Facebook Lives do you find conflict with, right? Do you see how we're doing this? We're taking it, we're breaking it down to the little minute, little itty bitty conflicts that we have, and the choice that we have to either run and hide for them or to lean into them. Okay, let's see. Irene says, it's how you come back that's more important. Becky says, that would be me. All right, you guys, Facebook Live, we got some people saying, yep, that's me. Okay, you guys. Lane says, sometimes there's drama on the team. The weak links often leave and the leaders get stronger and carry on. Okay, Wendy says, that's my biggest fear. Okay, Facebook Lives then resonates with a ton of people. Okay, the conflict between what you want to achieve in your business and a tool that you can use to get there. Okay, you see how that is a conflict? What else? Some things that might be conflicting for you. Finding the time to work on your business. How many of you have ever said, I just don't have the time to work on my business? Or you make the excuse that you don't have time to work on your business. Okay, making the time, not finding the time, but making the time. Do you feel conflict in your schedule? Do you have conflict with your upline about how you want to build your business? Do you want to send copy-paste messages? Do you not? Do you want to leverage online systems? Do you have conflict with the way that your company is teaching things? Okay? And again, conflict, right? It's not big and scary necessarily, but it is something that is uncomfortable to talk about, okay? Financial conflict. You're in this business, you're attempting to make money, your ad account gets shut down, so you're not able to run ads. You don't have money for ad budget, okay? You haven't set a budget. Okay, all of these things cause a little bit of conflict between what we're wanting to create and what we actually have going on. Mario says fear of making too many mistakes. Okay, I see that. Lane, Facebook Lives can give us internal conflict about doing them, but we improve each time we do it. Absolutely right, you guys. That's spot on, Lane. Great job. Okay, so we have conflict in all sorts of places. Self-doubt. How many of you are conflicted with self-doubt? You want to create something and yet maybe you don't have the self-belief or the confidence yet that you can achieve that. Okay, Maddie says it's a choice. Choose to do the right thing even when it's not what I feel like. Awesome. Okay, all right, you guys. So how many of you are conflicted about what you share on your page? Your Facebook page, your personal page? How many of you are conflicted about how real and authentic you are? How many of you are conflicted about that? Curious. Okay, I've got lots of hands coming through here, you guys. Is this resonating with you guys? It seems to be hitting some of the conflicts that you are feeling inside, okay? What do I talk about? What do I talk about on my Facebook Lives? What do I talk about in my posts? How do I relate to my audience, okay? Negative comments on our posts or ads. Are we conflicted about what do we do? Oh my gosh, somebody said something nasty. Do I respond to it? Do I hide it? What do I do? Okay, there's a conflict. Okay, budgeting. How much money do I have to invest in myself so that I can develop the skill sets that I need to get the results I want? How much money do I have for investing in my education? How much money do I have to invest in my product that I'm purchasing? How much money do I have to create, what you're attempting to create? Okay, that can be a conflict based on your circumstances and what you want to create. Okay. The sacrifices maybe that we need to make can be conflicting because we want to be everywhere at once. We want to have all the things, right? Okay, awesome, you guys. Lots of stuff coming through. Okay. Awesome. Julie says she hides it with the comments of people. Michelle says she loves negative comments. I love that you love negative comments, Michelle. I do too. That means that you're making an impact. You're making a statement. You're creating positive conflict. Okay, that you can learn and grow, and you're also helping other people see and understand maybe a different point of view that they didn't before, which causes conflict within themselves that then they have an opportunity to work through. Okay, so conflict, you guys, positive conflict is an amazing thing that we can use and leverage if we lean into it. So the question then is, how do we lean into it? How do we lean into conflict so that we can get a great return, we can hit the results that we're looking for in our business, okay? So the first thing, you guys, tip number 1 is to identify what the conflict is. What is it that you're feeling conflicted about? Is it that you don't have enough money? Is it a conflict between resources? Is it a conflict between personality types? Is it a conflict between opinions? Is it an internal conflict within yourself about commitment? Okay, where is the conflict coming from? Okay, Irene says negative comments from haters are great. It makes us want to be more successful. Absolutely, right? We want to show them that their comments have no bearing and they have no effect on us, right? Okay, so tip number 1, you guys, is identify what the conflict is, because once you know where the conflict is coming from, you're better equipped to be able to address it, right? And to figure out what you might do differently. Number 2, you guys, is to be honest. Okay, sometimes honesty when you're having a conversation with somebody that's hard is, it's hard to be honest because you don't want to hurt feelings. You maybe don't want to say the hard thing. I know for myself, when I first got it started, there was some conversations that I had with my upline at the time that were kind of hard to have. Like, I'm not going to be following this process and I'm not going to be doing this. It was a hard conversation to have, telling them that I wanted to go in a different direction that was more leveraged, okay? So number 2 is to be honest. And with honesty, not only in your communication with others, but owning what part of this is yours. What part of the conflict is yours? Is it just your opinions, your thoughts, your beliefs about it? Is it your behavior? Okay. Are you the common denominator? Are you making excuses for yourself instead of owning your part? And this goes a long way with how we interact in our own beliefs in our own head as well. Okay. Are we creating unnecessary conflict in our own minds based on what we are not prepared to do or we don't want to do? And so we're blaming other people or the situation for things that we truly have control over. Okay, so be honest. It can be very scary to own up to your part of the conflict. However, once you're able to do that, that is when you are able to improve and move past it. Okay, number 3, you guys, is to evaluate. Is it worth it? Is this conflict worth it? Is it worth putting the time and the energy into? Okay, so an example of this, you guys, is if you're struggling to stay on task in your business, you're struggling to find the time to work what you need to work in your business and prioritize so that you can achieve and create the business that you're wanting, because you're being distracted by friends or family or vacations or other hobbies, okay? You're in conflict. You want to have this great result, but what you're wanting to create, is it congruent with the time that you've dedicated to it? Okay, so you need to evaluate the importance of your goal or your result versus the distractions and the things that go on in life. Okay, so prioritizing and determining what is really worth it. Okay, is it worth creating the conflict of being invited out to dinner when you know you need to be doing a Facebook Live to say, hey guys, I can't do it at that time, or I might have to miss out this time because I've got something else I need to do? Okay, that's conflict. That's having a conversation with somebody about something you'd maybe rather do. For most people who are scared of doing Facebook Lives and don't love them, much rather go to dinner than do a Facebook Live. However, in your commitment to your business, is it worth the conflict of having that conversation and that internal conflict to say, I'd rather be doing something else right now, but I know that this is what's going to move me forward. Okay, so evaluate. Is the conflict worth it? Is it worth having that conversation or to put off doing something because you know you're going to get something better on the flip side? Okay, maybe by evaluating the importance of your goals versus the distractions, you can learn how to become more organized and put a plan in place so that next time you have clear communication. Okay, 4th one, you guys, is to communicate. Speak up. Okay, ask questions if you don't understand. Don't be afraid to share your different point of view. Ask for clarity. Okay, take a stand and communicate, because you don't know how you're thinking, and we have internal self-talk, right? Okay, we talk to ourselves all the time. We communicate with ourselves. We talk ourselves into and out of stuff all the time. So being able to communicate with ourselves and understand where we're coming from, owning those pieces, right? And being real and honest with ourselves will help with our personal communication, but also how we communicate with others. Asking questions, as I said just a minute ago, so that you have clarity. So if you know where you're at, or you have a better understanding of what's going on, you're more likely to take action and to be able to move through the hurdle or the stuck state that you're in to get to the other side, okay? They help provide clarity not only for others, so questions help provide clarity not only for others, but also for yourself as you work together. Speak up when you disagree or you have a different opinion, okay? This can bring new ideas and innovations, collaboration, different thought processes so that you can work together, especially in a team environment, so that you can learn together, right? And rise together. Awesome. I have listening coming through. Michelle, absolutely, listening. Super, super important, okay? Speaking up and then listening on the flip side of that, absolutely. Okay, and Julie says we listen to ourselves, so we need to be sure to tell others good things and not limiting beliefs. And by sharing how we're thinking, right, speaking up, having those conversations, we're better able to figure out where we're at. Okay, it's not just ideas in our heads anymore. It's actually real. We can have those conversations and move through them. Okay, all right. And then as a leader, you guys, again on number 4, on communicate. As a leader, you need to appreciate those that have the willingness to step up and to share their position. Oh, got a little one coming in to help here. So, you guys, instead of running away from conflict and leaning into it, we're able to strengthen every aspect of our life. Okay, it fits through everything that we're doing. When we learn to lean into those little conflicting things, we can actually raise the bar in every area of our life. Okay, true happiness comes from overcoming conflict. Okay, when we work through things and we struggle, and we make the decision to actually when we actually work through things.
I want a banana.
Okay, when we work through things, okay, we've got conflict right now. I'm doing a Facebook Live on the DDUA and my little girl wants a banana. Okay, we work through things, and as we lean into the conflict and we overcome those struggles, we are going to improve every area of our lives. We can become more confident, more concise. We can develop deeper relationships with other people, ourselves included, and the people that we work with in our teams as well. So you guys, I appreciate you guys being on with me today. If you found value, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Go ahead and share with those that you feel could benefit from hearing this message today. And I appreciate you guys all being on. I love the interaction. The comments that are coming through were awesome. Appreciate it so much. And don't forget to join us back on Monday. We are here, the Daily Dose of Awesome, Monday through Friday at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for your Daily Dose of Awesome. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.